Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sternberg Museum of Natural History. I'm Reese Barrick, and I am here today with our most famous, fun naturalist. Flip the camera around. Alicia, there we go.
Good morning. I think morning at least.
It is definitely morning.
Yeah, it's cloudy out now. There was sun earlier.
So what are we doing today? What's our adventure?
Well, today we are going to look at our mice. So if you've been to our museum or if you've watched our videos, you know we have lots of reptiles and frogs and toads here. And even though we have to take care of them, mostly what we take care of is the food for them. So that includes mice and lots of insects, and they need to be highly taken care of. So today we are going to talk about all the mice that we raise. So we're just going to get the ugly truth out right away. We obviously feed these mice to things, so we do end up killing them eventually. But it is the circle of life. We cannot teach our animals to be vegetarians, and I'm not a vegetarian anymore. I failed epically at that. So, you know, that's what we do. That's what other animals do. So some people can get upset about that, and if you are, I'm sorry, but it's just the way things have to be. So with us being closed, we aren't raising as many mice because we used to have mice that lived on display. They would play all day for kids to look at, and we would raise them in high quantities for the rattlesnakes and then for all of my snakes. But with things slowing down, we are not doing birthday parties where we're feeding things specially, and it's just a lot easier for us if we don't. So we have very few mice. I say very few mice, it's still a lot of mice compared to normal people. But this is our rack of mice. So we have this little rack that has all these drawers that come out, and each one of them has some mice in it. So we're going to have Reese come over here, and we're going to look in this cage. So usually we have 3 mice that are adults in each cage. We have 2 females and 1 male. Right now we have taken all the males out because we don't want any more babies. Right now we're just trying to raise the babies that we do have. So right now there's just females in these cages unless they are babies. So I have this cage for you. This is actually the youngest mice I have right now. So if you know anything about mice or rats, you will know that when they're born, they are called pinkies. So I do have a picture of what pinkies look like. So like their name suggests, they are pinky. So they're really small, they don't have their eyes open, ears, they are just surviving off of mom. They don't have fur, but they grow up really, really fast. So this would be newborn pinkies, about a day old. But then pretty fast, they're getting a little bit of whiskers, some fuzz. I call these the little pigs because I think they just look like little pigs. So now they have fur and their eyes are still closed, but they're kind of exploring their cage a little bit more, getting lost, calling out for mom to bring them back. And then you have this one. This one I still call the little pigs because their eyes aren't open yet. And that's where these guys were at yesterday. So I'll bring you out, little dude. So this little dude just yesterday did not have his eyes open. So I cleaned cages yesterday. So now he's gonna bite me. So now his eyes are open and he's trying to eat some snacks. He's still wanting to drink mom's milk, but he's exploring. He's trying to eat his own food, chewing stuff up. And pretty soon he's going to get to the stage that we call hopper. So hopper mice, like their name suggests, they hop. They can jump out of the cage. They can jump at you. Where are you going? So obviously these are not wild mice. They don't look like wild mice if you've ever seen any out in the wild, but they do come from wild mice. So this one kind of looks a little bit wild. Come on out. So those just brown ones kind of look wild, but they are basically just genetically altered mice that came from wild mice. And
they eat Fruit Loops.
They eat Fruit Loops. So let's explain what they're eating here. So, you know, if you're a farmer or anything like that, and you raise cattle or something, you want your cattle to be healthy and happy and live a good life so that when you do get them butchered, it's good meat. So we want the same for our mice. We don't want unhealthy mice to feed to our snakes. We want them to get nice and fat. so that they're good for our snakes and our frogs and toads and all the good stuff that eats them. So we like to make sure that they have a high protein diet. So they do get dog food, which obviously all this is dog food or cat food. And that's high protein for them. They get peanut butter, which they already completely ate. It's their favorite. They eat dessert first.
Oh,
Yep.
peanut butter.
Peanut butter. And then you see Fruit Loops, and there's some Cheetos in there. So we will buy cereal like Cheerios and oats, all the good healthy cereal that you're supposed to eat, not the stuff that's just covered in sugar.
Dog cat food and
treats.
well, they gotta have some treats.
They
you know,
have to have some
life has to be
They have
fun for a
dessert
while.
sometimes too. So a lot of our food for our mice, the treats especially, come from people who donate it. You get to the bottom of that cereal box and you just don't want to finish it. It's stale or something like that. So people donate it. So that's where a lot of our food, like the Cheerios here, were expired. So our mice love Cheerios. I mean, Cheetos. Everything starts with the same letter. And so a lot of people do donate for us. And if they have their peanut butter jar and it's empty, but there's still peanut butter on the side, our mice love to clean that off. So lucky for us, we have awesome people who donate. So that's where their nice Fruit Loops come from. And they also do get seed every now and then. They do like to have seeds. And if you see this little hose right here, this is providing their water. And they have this little ladder, like this little dude's climbing up right now. Oh, now he's going down. Well, we have this little ladder that they climb up to get to their water, just like if you had a hamster or anything like that. So, oh, you're gonna go up? Nope. Oh, there we go. So those are the moms right there. So they're trying to get some water. And they'll climb up that too and like beg for food and say, please drop something special into our tank. And if we're ever eating food here and we have leftovers like cake or cookies or pizza, we always give it to our mice. We spoil them, which is okay. So we have all these little mice running around. These ones are about 2 weeks old at this point, now that their eyes are open. That one is at least. These ones are a little bit older. Not by much, but as you can see, his eyes are open. He's going to be eating food, probably not eating from mom much longer. And so he's pretty much considered a young adult at this point. So in a couple days, he's going to be moved away from mom and into our big cage. So our big cage is just this cage filled with a bunch of mice of all ages, shapes, and sizes. And they just have toys to play with, stuff to chew up, lots of good treats. And unfortunately, their fate is to be food. So we wait for our mice to be adults before we gas them, which is how we put them down. We use CO2. Where you going? But before that, they're getting lots of exercise. They're being super noisy in here, making a big old mess. And it should be no surprise that mice are smelly. But
I thought it was just cats that were smelling.
well, cats are smelly too. Everything's smelly. Come on.
I heard a song once about a smelly cat.
Oh, I know. I've heard that too, And I tell that to my cat too. Actually, just yesterday, I sang her the song. So let's see if I can find any. All right. So these ones are about the same age as those over there. They're eating some Fruit Loops. But this mom right here, she is currently pregnant. So you can kind of see she's got a big belly. Where are you going? I just want to love you. So she's currently pregnant, even though she probably has some babies. So let's talk about how often mice have babies. So this is going to vary a little bit from species out in the wild to how big they are and whatnot. But for our mice, they are typically pregnant for 20 to 25 days. So if she had babies right now and we let them grow up, at about 21 days they would be adults. They wouldn't be able to reproduce on their own yet, but they would be adults. They wouldn't need mom anymore to survive. And at that point, she's about ready to have more babies. So as soon as she has babies, if there's a dad in that cage, he is going to get her pregnant again. So she is basically having babies every single month. So if you're a mom out there, just let that sink in. Having babies every single month. I feel for them. But
Yeah, you're kind of late now. You should be having another baby
Yeah,
if you're
shouldn't
at that rate,
Yeah,
right?
I just had a baby 3 months ago. I don't think I'll be having another one anytime soon. I can't imagine having that many children. So these ones are a lot older. So these ones are definitely ready to be moved. Oh, okay, where are you going? And these ones are apparently hard to catch. Can I have this? So, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the saying, fancy mice. So fancy mice are the ones that are raised to be all pretty and to be bought. Ow, don't bite me. That was just rude. Bite Reese. So, you know, people are terrified of mice and snakes. But the people who are terrified of snakes are scared of them because they don't want to be bit. But let me tell you, there is nothing worse than being bit by a mouse or a rat, except for maybe getting bit by a turtle. But I'd much rather be bit by a snake any day than bit by these mice, because it just is not fun. So we obviously care deeply for our mice. We want them to have good lives. But the whole point of us having these as well is we like to teach kids at birthday parties or programs and stuff like that why snakes are so important. So a lot of people, like I said, are afraid of snakes. They are misunderstood, but we need snakes because they like to eat mice. So as I said, if they're having 5 to 15 babies every month, and those babies are having babies and so on and so forth, that is a lot of mice in the world. And mice are a nuisance to us. So they get in our homes, they chew up wires, they eat our food, they poop everywhere, and they can give us diseases. So I always like to tell kids that, you know, they're mammals, we're mammals, they can give us diseases. And, you know, I don't think that's any more true than right now with the coronavirus, getting diseases from other mammals. So we don't want them in our homes, we don't want them chewing up our stuff. And yes, cats eat mice and birds eat mice. But with as many mice that are out there, I don't think they're going to keep up very well. So that's why we love snakes. They are eating mice, they are keeping the populations down, and all that good stuff. But even though they're food, they are definitely the most popular thing I ever take to birthday parties. Kids always love them. We always usually have pinkies for the kids to hold, and they just think they're adorable. Which they are. I mean, they grow up and they can be a nuisance in your home.
How long do mice live in general?
These guys are only going to live about a year in general in captivity. So here, you know, they're not being exposed to predators. The ones that we are using for breeders, so the moms and dads, they're constantly breeding up until the day they die of old age, or usually as they get older, they get tumors.
Old age meaning they're 1 year old.
Yes, isn't that funny? You know, I had a teacher actually at Fort Hays that always told us he hopes we live long enough to get cancer. So the mice are living long enough to get cancer. But yeah, a year old's not very old, you would think of. But for them it is, you know, their whole purpose of life is to breed and eat and poop, apparently. So they could differ from all sorts of rodents out there. There's obviously a wide variety. These ones are technically house mice. That's what they're made from. And so they'll live about a year if kept perfect. You would hope that they wouldn't live that long out in the wild. If a mom's having a batch of 15 babies, not all those babies are going to survive. And it comes from time to time where even if these moms have their babies aren't going to survive, because if they're sick, the mom's just not really going to care. And they'll just let them die. One thing that I think is really cool is that there are 2 moms in here right now, and these babies aren't eating from them anymore. But if there were babies eating, both moms would be feeding them. They don't care which baby is specifically theirs. If there's a baby that needs food and they have food, they're going to feed them. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody's ever had any pet rats, but they're kind of the same way. Pet rats are pretty common, they're pretty fun, they're pretty smart. And that's another, there we go. And that's another thing. They're pretty smart. I keep losing. Okay. It's the room, I swear. It's cursed. So this is our back room. So if you hear loud noises, this is the back room. It's just what we do here. But one thing I enjoy with all of my volunteers here, so usually they're kids. You know, they start here, they want to learn about all of our animals, which is wonderful. They always start with taking care of the mice because they're easy to take care of. They get food, they get their cages cleaned. Typically they're not going to bite you. I got bit earlier, but she was a young one. So the kids like to choose which mice are going to be breeders. So they like to say, oh, this one has pretty colors. I want to mate it with this one to make this pretty colored mouse. So it's kind of interesting that you can work with genetics with these mice. And kids get to learn about that more so than just, oh, here's some cat food for them. So, but once they get old enough, they get moved out. If they don't get moved out of the cage and they're a male, they're not going to have any problem having babies with their mama. So in here I have this because, let's see, excuse me, there's lots of mice in there. And there's, can you get out? No? Wee. No, she's just gonna hang out here. Oh, it's a he. Did we lose connection still?
Yep, we're back.
So, one thing we have learned from today is we are not going to do videos back here anymore. Because there is no internet connection apparently. Get out. So, there's, yeah, okay, you're just gonna live there. So there's lots of mice in this cage. These ones are just about ready to breed. So they need to be moved out within
That's
the
a
next...
he?
That's a he. Did you guys see? Can you figure out why it's a he? So yes. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
So that's a he. And if he doesn't get moved out of here pretty soon, he is going to mate with females, whether or not they are his siblings, whether or not they are his mom. They don't care. Their only purpose in life is to make more of them, which we do not want. So they're looking at me like, can you please give us food? Even though, look at all that food right there. But they just ate the peanut butter off of it and now want more.
They're picky.
They're picky. So their cages get cleaned once a week. Otherwise, we would die in here. They are smelly, obviously. And they get fed every single day. And typically they'll go to birthday parties and school programs and stuff like that. So they're more than just, let's feed them off to snakes. So, but does anybody have any questions? Let's see.
Dean just said you should bite the mouse back if it bites you.
Okay, Dean, will you do that for me? Because I really don't want to bite a mouse. Thank you, though. But I'm not about that life. But, you know, it didn't hurt. It could hurt. He was just giving me a little love tap, warning me that he doesn't want to be my friend anymore. So, but besides that, you know, mice are pretty easy to take care of. You just have to make sure they have food and water. Lots of people want to have them as pets, but don't realize that they are very smelly.
And I think the constant care and biting stuff wears on some people. I believe Lizzie was in here one summer, and it was the one thing she wanted to do more than anything else was take care of the mice because they were so cute.
So cute.
By the end of the summer, she was like,
I never want
I never want to see a mouse again. They bite all the time.
Yeah. Yes, you have to be, you know, you have to be clever and pick them up by their tails.
They're smelly and dirty, and they never stop pooping.
They never stop pooping, ever. I mean, like a normal child, I guess. But yes, everybody wants to start off with caring for the mice until you care for the mice for a long time. And you know, most people who start off working here, volunteering here, do start off with the mice because it tends to be one thing that's really hard to screw up, so people always find a way. They'll let mice...
What, you mean they escape sometimes?
Yeah, no.
No.
You know, they have escaped, okay? But just because there's a mouse in the museum does not mean it's one of mine. We're right next to the nature trails, you know.
If it's a white mouse, it's
If
probably...
it's a white, you know, if it is one of mine, it's undeniably one of mine. But it's also very easy to tell that it's not one of mine.
Correct.
So, but yes, if it is a white mouse or a funny colored looking mouse, it's probably mine. But yes, they are easy to get annoyed with, and if the first thing you notice when you walk into this room is the smell of mice, even though we clean it very often. But I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh, just for the heck of it. Hey, we got...
Are they playing over there or anything? Or are they just
Oh, we just... Oh,
like,
there's...
nope?
Nope, I'm going to go hide in my house.
Yeah. Well, just look at that cute little face sleeping now.
Oh, there we go. Oh, hello.
So one thing that we always do for big events that we have, like Spooktacular or celebrating our anniversary or something, we always like to have a big cage of mice out for kids to watch them play And that's why we like to have some on display in our discovery room as well, because they are very entertaining to watch. And sometimes when you have a bunch in a cage, there will just be a pile of sleeping mice. And it's always funny when there's one running on the wheel, but there's one on the outside of the wheel getting beat up.
Or one that holds on and spins all the way
Yes.
upside down while one is running.
Which is always very entertaining. I gotta say, sometimes I'll just sit here and watch the mice. But like I said, they're pretty easy to take care of, but you always manage to just get peanut butter everywhere. I don't know if any of my employees are watching, but peanut butter, no.
I guess they're cousin mice to come in from the field
They
if you
are.
leave the peanut butter out.
They're asking for their,
And they're like children's books about country mouse
Yeah.
and city mouse or something.
yes, our fancy mice here. They want the country mice in here. But besides that, that's really all I got. We take care of our mice. It's pretty easy. Just don't overfeed them. They can be overfed and then they get really fat. And that's one thing. If a mouse stops breeding, because they just get really fat. So, and very fatty, and nice treat for my snapping turtle. That's his favorite. But unless anybody has any questions, or if
All
Reese
right.
has any questions,
I
I'm going to sign out, or Reese is going to sign out.
Oh, you can feel free. Take us home
Take us home.
from the dome.
From the dome. Well, it's Friday, right? So we won't be back until Monday.
So
I
yes,
have Monday off, so I won't
you
be back.
need to give
Oh,
Alicia.
wait, it's morning. There's one tonight.
Oh, there's one.
Afternoon.
But you need to give Alicia some likes,
You do, otherwise I cry.
and she also loves to be shared.
I do love to be shared. Share my videos, please. Because this has to be worth it for some reason, because I don't enjoy doing this. I enjoy showing my animals, but I'm dying inside right now. I'm waiting to fall down and just cry. So yeah, if you share my videos, I'll feel a lot better. And I'll continue to show you my animals. If not, if I just have to keep embarrassing myself, I'm just going to tell Reese, I'm sick, I can't come into work today. But,
All right. So keep Alicia on Facebook Live.
yes, thank you. Share, like, tell me how awesome I am. 'Cause I can never hear that enough.
All right. So from the dome to your home, thank you everybody, and we will see you, or Ian will see you today at 2.